So looking at this second week of May 6th through 12th, our sales picked up a little bit, so not too bad. We're starting off on eBay as usual with this pair of Sperry topsider men's boat shoes. And for some reason, thrift stores, like they don't, even though these were new with tags, they had never been worn. This one particular thrift store doesn't tend to price Sperry very high. And so I have found a couple nice pairs of men's Sperry's, like the boat shoe, the kind of classic boat shoe look, that have been in really good condition or new. And they'll mark them at like $10 for the pair. And they usually have several days of the week where shoes are half off. So I picked up this pair for $5 and it sold for that full asking price of $60. So that was nice. And easy, no cleaning necessary. Sold this mug, Montana Earth Pottery. We had sold like a travel no spill kind of style mug by them before. I picked up a couple of these at the thrift store for about $1, probably about $1. And one had a bear and one had a bison. So surprisingly, the bear sold first. I thought the bison was a little harder to find and I thought it would go quicker, but the bear sold first. And we took an $18 offer on that one. And it's, I think, a local, it is local pottery company around here. Then let's see, a couple plastic vintage mugs that were giveaways, I think at Arby's, and the cartoon Baybar, kind of classic, but these were from 1992. The plastic maker was Whirly. Sometimes you come across some plastic items back in the day by Whirly. I don't know if they're still in business, but anyway, these two sold for $14.99. I think I picked them up on a road trip. I'm not positive. I think we've had them for a little while. These were one of those things I was just kind of digging around in all my stuff and came across them and thought, you know what, Mr. Pish Posh has been listing some vintage eyewear that we've kind of hoarded and accumulated, so maybe he'll want to do these. And they're just kind of like they're octagonal, but they clip on to a pair of glasses, so it's just kind of random. But they sold for $25. We weren't really sure what to ask for them, but we got a $25 offer, so we went ahead and took that. They'd just been sitting in a drawer with my jewelry. $29.99 for this Nespresso, and then it was like with another company, Fusalp. Never heard of it, but it was like a limited edition martini glass. Nespresso, it's like a good brand. Can be. So I did look it up when I was at Goodwill and saw enough to make me want to bring it home. So that sold for the full asking price of $29.99. Next up was a Patagonia, kind of like a base layer stretch. It was called Lotus Designs. We'd put hard to find. It's kind of probably like a Y2K type era or 90s. I think it was a short-lived little thing that Patagonia did. So there weren't too many comps, but I did find some, I did find a few comps. We started off at $50. We took a $33.78 offer. I don't think that there were that many people looking for this, so it took a little while to sell. Then here's another J. McLaughlin. So I told you in the last video that I had a few of these that I listed all at once. And the other one was very colorful, very bright, bold flowers, and I knew it would go quickly. This one sold for $25. So kind of what I expect from these little summer dresses. The last one sold for $30. So right there in that $25 to $30 bread and butter kind of range. Oh, and I meant to look this up. Somebody told me in one of my last videos about this brand, how it's pronounced, because they had heard so many commercials for it back in the day. So it's not just Speedle? Is it Speedle? I can't remember. I meant to look that up, but that's kind of funny. So you know what I mean. They make watch bands, they make ID bracelets. This was an ID bracelet that's the plaque had not been engraved yet. And so that sold for $19.99. And then here's that belt that we talked about in one of my recent haul videos. It was our I think we went out of town. We had to go out of town and we hit some thrift stores along the way. And I came across a bunch of belts in one particular thrift store, and this diesel belt I was kind of excited about because it, why does this thing keep moving? I had moved this over here. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I was excited kind of for this spell out design. And it turned out to be kind of a harder belt to find. It's not vintage or anything like that. The tags have like the website and everything on it, but the spell out look is kind of popular. It was pretty distressed. Don't know how much of that was intentional, but I took a $30 offer on that belt. And I paid like $1.50 or $2 for it at that thrift store. And we sold a baseball cap just in boots, $12. These usually sell for me on Poshmark. For whatever reason, the Western boot brand baseball hats seem to do well over there, but this one, same thing, $12 offer. We're just moving. We have so many hats all the time, so we're just moving them through. This, I think, came from our little clearance center. It's just a silk base layer shirt by LL Bean. And if you have the whole thing, like the base layer and the pants, it can do really well. But anything in those natural materials is something worth taking a look at. We just sold this one for $15. Then here's that Coach watch that I shared in my jewelry haul. And these were the watches that I had, I didn't have my phone on that trip, and so I couldn't check comps or anything like that. So I kind of bought them blind. I bought this one for, I think, $20, and we sold it for $60. So I did make a little bit of profit, not like a huge amount. But like I said, I was just hoping, let me just get my money back. If I've made a huge mistake, at least let me get my money back. So we did a little bit better than that. And this is kind of funny. This mug, Mr. Pish Posh Mace, he picked it up at Goodwill. He was out and about with one of our sons running errands, and I said, hey, run by Goodwill. They have the whole store at 50% off today. And so he went. I don't know what I was doing. Maybe I wasn't feeling good. But anyway, so he went and he picked this mug up. And being a basic mug, I'm assuming they were just the 99 cents. They have been kind of pricing the mugs up a little bit lately, but half off, he would have paid like 50 cents for this one. And he just thought it was interesting. It's Dairy Queen, but it's kind of specific. It's a British Columbia Dairy Queen. And so I don't think there were any marks on the bottom, but he sold it for $14. And he sold it like overnight, which was like, that's what we're always looking for, right? We're always looking for the quick flip. So gotta love that. This LL Bean jacket sold for $10. I remember looking at it one time at the thrift store and checking comps, and I wasn't super excited about it. And so I didn't buy it. And then I was there on a women's clothing half off day, and I don't know, you get kind of caught up in the whole blah excitement of finding stuff to flip. It was still there, so I went ahead and got it. So I'm going to say I paid like $3 or so for it, and I sold it for $20. Again, it didn't take that long, so that's not too bad, but I don't know. I've got to get away from just the low dollar. Like 20 is kind of pushing it for the amount of work that goes into listing a piece of clothing. You know, it's one thing if it's just a quick snap, 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 but I don't like measurements and all that. I mean, I have a system down. It's totally fine, but I'd much rather my clothing items be higher priced and my my hard goods that are kind of an easier list, possibly, you know, I don't mind some of those being a little bit less of a profit. Now, speaking of selling winter in the summer, in the warm weather, we've got this lot that I put together. I had found all these at the thrift store one time. These are called Love Your Melon. They're beanie hats. They have like a snap at the top, so you can change out the pom-pom, and you can put different pom-poms on it. So there was just the three with one pom-pom. So I just lotted them all up together for about $10 a piece, and they sold in the beginning of May. Then we have a Polaroid wink light, it's called. It's a type of flash, bounce flash. It also sold for $20. And that page is nothing. Let's see. Then we had this was kind of fun. It's a tie bar, a tie clip, and it was a mechanical pencil as well, but they put a little decorative glass ball at the end of it to kind of dress it up a little bit. But, you know, how handy would that be to just have your pencil clipped right on to your necktie? Oh, we sold that for $25. Picked it up at a thrift store. I think that one was on our way down to another town, or one of the thrift stores kind of out of town that we go to sometimes, as if we're passing through. Studio pottery. This just sold for $18. Mr. Pish Posh picked it up because he liked the style of the no spill. These always do pretty well for us. I've talked about it before. When it's wide bottom, it's got a smaller opening on the top. It does keep your beverage hotter longer. No spill, you know, it's kind of bottom heavy, right? So it won't knock over easily. They use them a lot on boats, and they use them. This one even did have the rubber bottom that they usually put on those. So it works at your desk. It works in a lot of different applications. We couldn't find a maker or anything for that, but kind of an interesting style with the high neck, and so we took an $18 offer for that one. Again, it sold probably in a couple days. 511 ripstop tactical cargo pants. These were kind of a shorter size, but a bigger waist. So they took a little while to sell. I don't even remember where and when we picked these up. I don't pick up a lot of 511 anymore. But these did sell for $29.99, so not too bad. And then these next two went to the same buyer. $50 for these safety glasses that were new old stock. And he also bought this new old stock safety glass sunglass for $35. So that was kind of neat. Went to the same buyer, and we combined the shipping and sent them off together. Then we have this pattern. I don't sell a ton of patterns. I've got a few listed on eBay. They were cross-posted with when I was really, my youngest was helping me get them listed. And so we put some on, we went ahead and put them on VENDOO and had them in Etsy and eBay. As you know, Etsy's not my favorite anymore. And so I was kind of curious if having them cross-posted, if I could, you know, if I sold more at pretty good prices on eBay, I could drop Etsy, but I don't think that's going to happen. Although that Etsy shop has gone quiet, I did list some stuff. I have a new plan for listing there. I just haven't had the time to be consistent with it. But I'm trying to just list patterns very quickly, and maybe not as in-depth as I have done in the past. Just get them out there, take good pictures. All the information is on the envelope, and just let people look at the pictures instead of writing it all out like I used to. So maybe depending on the value of the pattern, I might do a little bit more, but that's my new experiment. But I haven't played around with it enough to see if it actually is going to work or not. Maybe that's something I should do tonight, is just pop a couple more in there. Moving over to Poshmark, I sold this hat. We sold this hat. Titleist, $17. It just had this like mallard duck embroidery on the side. I'm not quite sure what that meant. One size fits all. Okay. Then we sold this belt for $19 that it has those conchos, very Western style. It had a braided section, conchos. It's pretty small women's belt, and it had no buckle, but it sold for $19. And then Ralph Lauren, I had this, I think I kind of started digging around in my jewelry a little bit more again and trying to get things listed. And this was a necklace and bracelet set. I put silver tone. It's possible it was also silver plated because I think it tarnished a bit, and I polished it up a little bit. But it sold for $22. I do like finding Ralph Lauren jewelry. It usually does sell. This was a Hoyt archery. We've found a few of these and have sold them. We might even still have some listed. I'm not sure what the current state is, but I think we kind of come across those fairly often. But that sold for $25, which is pretty good for a baseball hat. Then these next two went to the same buyer. It was a bundle, so you can ignore the $30. You can ignore the $30 price tag there. So she bought this one and she bought the next one, and I accepted an offer on the bundle for $40. So it was $20 each. I'll show you the label. These were kids shorts, and they were in the kids section at Goodwill. And I just kind of came across them one day. They just looked interesting. The one is these octopus, and then the other one was scooters, like Vespas. And this brand, is it MC squared? MC2, St. Bart. If you find them in men's, they actually are like $40, $50 swim trunks. So I actually found another pair the other day. It was half off kids' clothes at Goodwill, and I was shopping with my son. And I found another pair. These are size 14 youth. Another pair I found were size 12 youth, and I only paid a couple dollars because it was half off. And they have Mickey Mouse on them, and so they seem a little bit rarer. So we're going to see how we do on those. Anyway, like I said, it was a bundle, so $40 for those two pairs of swim trunks. But keep an eye out for that company. That label's right on the outside band. And like I said, they sold really quickly. And if you look at the comps on men's swim trunks, they seem to do pretty well. Next three are also a bundle. I was just looking at my phone to see how much the bundle was, because it's just showing the prices, my asking prices. This was a vintage t-shirt, University of Texas at Arlington. I just really liked the colors. It was so like threadbare, not threadbare, but just kind of, the old t-shirt, very thin, lightweight cotton. So that one, then she bundled that, and this vintage trucker hat, and this fun 1980s mug. So nice little vintage bundle she made, and the bundle was, let me see. How come I can't find it? Oh, let's see. $56.70. I think that's what it was. Is that the bundle, I have it set up in Poshmark that if someone buys more than one item, they get 10% off. So that's all she did. She made the bundle. She got the automatic 10% off for having the bundle. And that's what she paid. So $56.70. And I made $45 after the Poshmark fees and things like that. So that was good. Always nice to have like a bunch of things leave at once. And then this is a brush pot, Asian design. Very interesting shape and everything like that. We did double check this. If this was real bamboo, if this was actual antique, it would be worth a lot more money. I checked in a antique, like Chinese antique group, and they said it was resin, and that, it could still be vintage. He thought it was most likely vintage, but it was, you know, there was a time period where a lot of these were being made out of resin. But very interesting looking. Sold that for $30. Let's pop over to Ruby Lane. If you remember the jewelry video, I think we talked about, I had found this, I think it's Finnish, right? From Finland. The reindeer moss necklace. And this pendant had come on that chain. And to me, they didn't really go together. The styles didn't even go together. So we took it off of that chain, and I just listed this chain by itself. It was gold filled, so that was in its favor. It sold for $36 like overnight. So it sold very quickly, just kind of a basic, the style of the chain is a lot like a watch, pocket watch chain. But, you know, it was like necklace length. So just kind of an interesting chain that you could use for lots of things, and that sold really quickly. And the other thing that sold very quickly, and I knew it would go quickly, was this jewelry casket. I haven't shown you and I'm not sure if it's a video I'm gonna put out, but it was a day that I went to a couple estate sales and thrift stores, or garage sales, I mean, and there was this one estate sale where the woman had so many knickknacks and so many little things. And so I picked up a few items. This was one of the items I picked up the first day of the sale, and it was like $5. It's pretty small. It has, here, I'll show you some other pictures of it. It has that's the shape of it. It's embossed on the side. It was a hunting scene. Now, this is like a Victorian revival piece. There's velvet on the inside. There's very similar ones that have like a hook on the inside where like a guy could hang his pocket watch at night. But I could just see this being very much like a little jewelry box on a guy's nightstand. You know, he could put stuff in it. It's just really cool looking. Now, what was interesting is that when you looked online, most of the ones that were coming up were like the Victorian ones, like really, really old ones. And this, if you look at the bottom, it was just brass. And the bottom to me was just very much like the music boxes or little jewelry trinket boxes that were made in Japan. And so I just listed it at $50. There weren't really many comps out there, and some really high asking prices for the antique ones, but it still was just a really nice looking piece and pretty heavy duty. So I listed it for $50, and somebody bought it for the full, well, they got $45 because they were a repeat buyer. So I have a repeat buyer discount set up of 10%. So, but it sold overnight. So I love that. I love when things move quickly. Then, yay, on Etsy. Okay. This is the one shop of vintage stuff. It's mostly run by my husband, but he cross-posts some things with VENDOO from eBay to Etsy. And we were talking about it the other day. As much as we do not like Etsy, we still find the market there for a lot of the vintage mid-century type things that we always used to do really well selling on Etsy that have slowed down a little bit, but that market is still more there than it is maybe on eBay or even on Ruby Lane. It's just kind of a different clientele. So we had gotten some lowball offers on this for on eBay, but it was just unusual. Bjorn Windblad for Rosenthal. I mean, when I saw it on the shelf, I knew it was Bjorn Windblad right away. But I was researching, and at first I couldn't find anything. I think I mentioned this to you guys one other time. I was using mug, but this is technically considered a jug, and so when I started searching with the word jug, then I found a few more, but very whimsical. I'll show you the mark on the bottom. So you see the Rosenthal mark, you can see the Bjorn Windblad signature there. we were just so excited. I was so excited to find this. So just little local thrift store, and it sold for $70. And then another good sale that week on Etsy, also for $70, was this playing card case made in Italy. So just a nice looking red leather playing card case. It says genuine calf leather made in Italy. If you can look inside, it's designed to hold a couple decks of cards. And the cards that were with it were just super fun. I don't know, maybe that's the only picture he could fit on there. But they were a couple decks of cards by Stancraft, and they had these Tiffany style lamps on them. So just kind of a bonus thing. But $70 for that, and those came from our little honey hole place. That woman who collected all sorts of interesting objects. But so I think, and we might have paid, I don't even remember. It was $5 to $8. It might have been $6. $6 is sticking in my head, but anywho, that is it for that. Nope, one more Depop. This actually I think sold the week before, but I forgot to share, and I think it just sold for $14. But these had been listed a long time on some of the other sites, and I just thought the spell out was so cool by, Hurley, whatever. Board shorts can be kind of tricky. So when we got this offer on Depop, I was like, whatever, just take it. So we moved a pair of shorts along. So that was it on Depop, but I'm going to pop it back over to this picture because I like looking at it better than the Hurley shorts. And I will talk to you guys later. Like I said, I'm out of town right now, so while you're watching this, and kind of busy with some stuff out of town, so a little bit of thrifting, but not a whole lot. But we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming by next week. So leave me a comment down below. Again, like I always ask, how's your week going? I know I just asked you this a few days ago, so if you didn't comment then, go ahead and comment now, if you found anything interesting or if you sold anything interesting in the last few days. So we'll talk to you guys later.